In this lecture, you're going to learn how to work with JSON files in Python. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation and is a popular way to format data in a human-readable way. These days, it's very important to know JSON because a lot of popular websites like Facebook, Twitter, Yelp, YouTube, and so on provide their data in JSON format. Also, if you have a website, you can provide your data in JSON format. So let me show you how to work with JSON files. On the top, we import the JSON module. Now let's create an array of movie objects. So movies, we set it to an array. Each item in this array is going to be a dictionary because each movie object has properties like ID, title, year, and so on. So each movie object is essentially a collection of key value pairs. So let's add a dictionary. The first key is ID. We map that to 1. The second is title. We map that to Terminator. The third is year, and we map that to, let's say, 1989. Now let's add another object. Change the ID to 2, title to kindergarten, cop, and year to 1993. So here we have a movies object. Now we can call JSON.dumps, pass this movies object here, and get a string that includes our movies data formatted as JSON. Let's take a look. So data, we print it on a terminal. There you go. So this is an example of JSON data. Now, in this case, what you see here happens to be identical to the syntax that we use to define an array of dictionaries in Python. But this is not the case when working with other languages. Now, back here. So we have this data variable, which is a simple string. Now we can write it to a file. So on the top, from the pathlib module, let's import the path class. Then instead of printing this on the terminal, we're going to create a path object, let's say movies.json, and then call write text on it and pass this data string. Let's run this program. Okay. Now here in our project folder, we have movies.json. Beautiful. So you learn how to write data to a JSON file. Now let's imagine we get this JSON file from somewhere else. This could be the data we get from Facebook, Twitter, IMDb, Yelp, YouTube, and so on. So we should be able to read this data in Python. Back to app.py. I'm going to delete this movies array, as well as the line where we dump it to a JSON string. So we start with this file, movies.json, and read all its text and store it in this variable. So now data is a string that includes data formatted as JSON. Next, we need to parse this string into an array of objects. So we call JSON.loads, pass this string here, and this will return an array of dictionaries. Let's call that movies and print it on the terminal. So this is the movies array that we had earlier, an array of dictionaries. So we can simply get any items in this array. Here's the first movie. Now we have a dictionary. Using square brackets, we can get the value of any of these keys. For example, let's get the title of the first movie, run the program, we get Terminator. So this is all about working with JSON files in Python.